How's it going, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Today we're looking at the prices for Prismatic Evolution chase cards. This set is absolutely phenomenal. There's so many chase cards in this set. Not only are they expensive in the raw form, but we're going to be looking at the PSA 10 prices as well. So the PSA 10 prices are really expensive for a lot of these cards, mainly because the gem rate is pretty low for this set. This rainbow hollow border, you have to get the centering right. PSA 10 has also changed their guidelines on what qualifies as a 10. So there's a lot of factors causing these cards to be expensive. The singles themselves, we'll be looking at the single prices as well for each of these chase cards. And mainly with the singles, the reason why they're really expensive is they're hard to hit. These chase cards are actually really hard to hit. The evolutions are like 1 in 1,400 packs, so 1,400 packs just to get on average an evolution. So we're going to be looking at the PSA 10 prices, and we're also going to be looking at how they compare with the TCG player prices, and we're going to be looking at the volume of sales as well. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to go ahead and get right into the data, so let's go ahead and get after it, you guys. So let's go ahead and start off with this Umbreon right now. We have the last recent sales in a PSA 10, $3,600. 48 people were bidding on this card. Somebody got this card for $3,600. This was on February 18th. We have a PSA 10 Umbreon that sold on January 31st for $4,950. Also in an auction. We have on February 3rd, $4,000 for the PSA 10 Umbreon. So why is this Umbreon so expensive? Like we talked about, you got to be looking at the data, guys. And this is pokedata.io. I really highly recommend this website. So the Umbreon has a gem mint or gem rate, meaning when you take all the grades that people submitted for the Umbreon, the gem rate 10 is 39.8%. So that's why this card is also expensive. Is not only is it the Umbreon, or people have dubbed it the Sunbreon, but the gem rate is below 40%. So you have 447 gem 10s and you have 636 gem 9s. And so the reason why I said in the thumbnail that everyone should be grading their cards, their chase cards in this set, is because we don't know when we're going to be getting product. These prices can shift. So let's go ahead and talk about how this card has been shifting in price. Let's see. February 1st, this card was selling for $4,612. It's consistently been dropping down and fluctuating. It's dropped down all the way to $3,171 in a gem, in a PSA 10. So it's dropped about $1,400 since release. And what's really great about this site is you can actually check the actual sales from eBay for the PSA 10s and the actual sales for the PSA 9s. You can even change it and check out TCG Player and compare those prices as well. So now that we're talking about TCG Player, let's go ahead. So the price for the PSA 10, about $3,000 for the Umbreon. And I showed you those recent sales right there, around $3,000. This is a PSA 9, $3,500 on February 19th. So let's go ahead and check out TCG Player. Where are we? Right here. So let's see how the single's been doing. The PSA 10 has been selling for about $3,000 lately, right? And here we have the sales for TCG Player, the raw cards. So these are just the singles, right? Near mint copies. January 31st, you had a sale for $1,623. Since then, it kind of dropped down to $1,580. And now it's actually on its way up from $1,580 to $1,597. So about a $17 gain in the past week or so. $17 gain. The volume is not super high, you guys. Normally when we talk about the PSA 10s for sets, my next video I'm going to talk about Paldea Evolved. That's going to come out this weekend. This week, Prismatic Evolutions. But check out my other videos on Obsidian Flames. I did a video on Paradox Rift, Paldean Fates, and Pokemon 151. So if you want to know the gem rates for those sets, check out my channel. And about a week ago, you'll see all those videos. So yeah, man, a $1,500 card, nearly $1,600. And the volume is really, really low. You only have 1 to 3 copies being sold on average every few days. And so mainly that's because these are really expensive cards, right? Like, you got to be really looking to either grade this card and flip it, or some people are just collecting these cards that have the cash to collect right now in this bull market, because this bull market, a lot of cards are going up. So be careful when you're buying. There were opportunities to buy cards and then sell them a few weeks later as they were going up. But now illustration rares are through the roof. And so you want to find cards that you like and cards that have potential, popular Pokemon for sure. All right, let's talk about the Sylveon EX. Let's look at the, again, here's all the individual sales, but let's look at the average sales. So Sylveon EX in February 3rd, it was selling for $2,025 in a PSA 10. And it's kind of stayed flat for a while at $2,000 this past month. And now it's dropped to $1,400, so $1,452 on February 20th. And now it's made its way back up, actually, from $1,400 to $1,700 right now that we're at the end of February. And what's really great is you can track all the sales, and it has all the eBay links or whatever. It will say this card has sold, but basically it takes you straight to eBay, so you know it's an official sale. And you can see right here in no auction, $1,600 for the PSA 10. So it's selling for about $1,600. The last sale was for $1,799 and $1,600. And that was just on the 24th of February. So these are very recent sales. Let's look at the single for this card. It's actually trending in the downward direction. In January, it was selling for $536. Now it's selling for $474. So big drop for the Sylveon EX. Next, we have the Espeon EX card. Let's look at the PSA 10. In January, it was selling for $2,000 and then $1,325. My bad, guys. I totally forgot to give you guys the gem rate on the Sylveon. The Sylveon EX, I already did the math. If you want to look and do math for these gem rates, all you need to do is go to PSA.com. Personally, I do PSA. I do population report prismatic evolutions, and that's how you can find. It'll just take you straight to the set, and then you'll search the card you're looking for within that set, and then you just got to do the math to find the gem rate. Sylveon EX, 42%. So still pretty low. Once you get into the 50s and 60s, that's not that low, and it'll reflect in the prices. But when cards have a 40% gem rate, or even 45, the prices tend to be more expensive for PSA 10. So always be sure to look at those gem rates, because you might find a diamond in the rough that people are missing. Even in older sets, Sun and Moon, X and Y, however far you want to go back, or however modern, if you want to look at modern cards too. But definitely stick to popular Pokemon. That's going to be your best bet. Okay, so yeah, $1,600 in February, and it's still staying pretty flat at $1,600. Last recent sales for the PSA 10, there haven't been too many, you guys. There's a PSA 9, PSA 10 right here on February 16th, $1,400. So the average is about $1,600. There's probably been a few more sales further back in early February, 1,875. So that's why the average is a little higher. But the latest sale was for 1,400. So the last sale, 1,400. Look at the population, only 73 in a PSA 10, 145 in a PSA 9. So the gem rate overall, including all the other grades, that most of them are 8 and above. There haven't been any 7s or 6s that I've seen. Probably because it's a newer set and the print quality is at least decent. Okay, it's just hard to get like this rainbow to be a perfect 10 around the border. The Espeon has one of the lowest gem rates out of all the cards. I think, yes, it actually has the lowest gem rate after the Gholdengo EX. There's no PSA 10s for the Gholdengo EX in this set. just to give you a sneak peek for later. But yes, the Espeon has the lowest gem rate right now at 29.7%. So we're going to be getting more, cards graded, in the coming months as people will start to rip this set more, if they can even get their hands on it and if they can even pull the set. You can definitely find products online. They're just expensive. Today, we're not going to look at the products because there's so many chase cards. We're just going to focus on the raw price and the PSA 10 price. But yeah, so next we have the Espeon EX card. And in February, it was selling for $382 on February the 2nd. And now it's gone up to $428. So like I was trying to say, some of these cards are going up, like this Espeon. It's gone up from $382 to $428. So about a $40 gain in the past month. The volume is about 1 to 3 copies. Again, these chase cards are hard to get, and that's pretty much why. And the gem rates as well. The raw cards are just hard to pull. Next, we have the Flareon EX card, 50.8% in a PSA 10. Population 65 for gem rate 10. Population 98 for gem 9. Overall, the gem rate is 50.8, so one of the higher gem rates. And if you look at the sales right here in February, 1,147. Managed to have a few sales for 1,600, 1,800, and now has dropped down pretty fast to $934. So since February, about 1,100 down to 943. So about $160 drop, $170 drop. And you can see right here too, the last PSA 10, $943. And so that brought the average down to 943. Next, let's look at the Flareon EX, the raw card. This one is also going up. So some of these cards are going up. Like I said earlier, $268 in January, at the end of January. And it's steadily been going up now to $376. So that's a substantial gain. That's almost, that's about $100 gain in just 1 month. And the volume, you're having 1 to 3 copies being sold. Next, we have the Leafeon. The Leafeon EX has a gem rate. It's pretty low at 38.4%. You have 86 and a gem rate 10. Let's see. PSA 10 in February was about $1,100. It dropped down to now $845. $845. Wow. So $1,100 down to $845. That's about, what is that? $190 drop. Almost $200 drop. The last PSA 10 sold for $840 in an auction. So yeah, that's why the average is down, $845. And so someone paid for that, right? There's only 86 right now, so the population is very low. The set is really brand new. Let's see the raw card. It's dropped from $376 in January. Managed to drop all the way down to $352. So that's about maybe a $20 drop. And now it's trending in the upward direction from $351 up to $363. So about a $12 gain in the past week. And so, interesting to see these cards fluctuate and more sales happen. There's not too many, right? Only 1 to 3 copies. And so, but that's a big difference. Like if you're looking to sell this card or grade this card, you definitely want to just be keeping track of the price and finding out, do you want to keep it? Do you want to sell it? Or also, do you want to take the chance and grading the cards? There's lots of videos online about grading. I'm starting to grade cards, and it's really fun to just see what you end up getting back, and your gem rates maybe 35, 40%. But PSA 10 standards are a lot harder. But if the centering is good, you might as well grade. Shout out to the homie who pulled that. Really awesome. I'm really happy for you. That's incredible. Maybe do consider grading, just even if it's a PSA 9. Even if it's a PSA 9, the Leafeon, let's just check it out. PSA 9 sales. Let's see if there's been any. Yeah, PSA 9, 366. And it stayed pretty consistent at 375 to 366. You can see the last 9s have been for $374, $357, and $351. So about a $350 to $370 card in a PSA 9. And that kind of coincides with the raw card price too. So a lot of people do prefer, raw singles sometimes because there's the potential to grade it, right? So keep that in mind. So yeah, the Leafeon also has a low gem rate. The Leafeon gem rate, after I did the math, 38.4%. So a lot lower than the Flareon. The Flareon is at 50%. Leafeon is at 38.4%. Next, we have the Glaceon gem rate, 44.3%. And so let's see, prices in February, early February, it was selling at around $2,000, and now it's dropped to, my goodness, $1,700 down to $1,000, and now trending in the upward direction at $1,200. So really crazy to see just that big drop in sales. Like whoever made this sale, kudos, because that's a $2,000 PSA 10, and then the next person, $1,400, and then down to $820, and now it's trending in the upward direction. So that's low-key crazy, you guys. Like a $1,200 drop after those first initial sales, wild. So sometimes, in the past, like a year ago, cards would come out hot, and then they would, stagnate and actually, trend in the downward direction. Recently, after Twilight Masquerade, cards were coming, and Temporal Forces, cards were like cheaper during pre-sale, and then after the cards were released and people really liked the cards actually started to take off, like Greninja, Raging Bolt, Iron Crown for a little while. So it's really interesting how things shift in market sentiment with all these sets and popularity, and now the demand is super big, and now there's manipulation and buyouts and all that. But also the demand is huge and supply is kind of low, and the cards are amazing, and the gem rates are low. And yeah, so okay, the Glaceon right here in January, $305, and it's been trending in the upward direction. Really cool to see. Now it's selling for $324. So that's about a $20 gain in the past month. Next, we have the Vaporeon EX card. Let's see. Did I forget the gem rate for the Glaceon? Glaceon 44.3%. Yep. Vaporeon has a lower gem rate right here at 36.4%. Only 49 PSA 10s. Let's see the prices. It's been selling for a PSA 10 for $1,100 in early February. And now it's risen a little bit now to about $1,250 by the end of February. So that's about, let's see, like a $100 gain in the past month. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and look at the single. Wow, look at this big drop. Let's see. Early February, $308. The Vaporeon managed to drop and sell at $294. So only, what is that? 8 and only like a $15, $14 drop right there. But now it's trending in the upward direction again and selling for $307. So it's gone up again by about $13. And so not too crazy. It's fluctuating between $13, but still a $307 card. Here's the volume, about 1 to 3 copies being sold every few days. The Jolteon EX, when the set first came out, this was my favorite at the time. This and the Leafeon EX. But now that Flareon is starting to warm up on me, when you see the cards, online, like when someone's selling it or even in person, these cards honestly are actually really, really nice. I have to admit that now. Okay, the Jolteon EX, 46.7% in a gem rate 10. Look at the population, really low. 79 in a 10, 84 in a 9. There's only been one sale in a 10, and it managed to sell for a bid. So someone did pretty well. $250 for the PSA 10, which is crazy because that's cheaper than the single price. So it just goes to show, hey, if you're in an auction when cards first get released and people aren't, I guess paying attention to certain cards, you might get lucky and get a good deal on a card. So if you're looking for cards, just favorite those auctions and then you'll get notifications if someone outbids you. But in January, this card's actually trending in the upward direction. January was selling for $257. It's been going up in February, $273, and now it's up to $291. So from $257 to $291, that's about what, a $40, $30 to $40 gain in the past month. Volume looks pretty good at 1 to 4 copies being sold every few days. Next, we have the Ceruledge. The Ceruledge gem rate 54.5%. We have 31 PSA 10s with 22 PSA 9s. So the gem rate's a little higher for this Ceruledge. It's one of the highest actually at 54.5. We only have one sale in a PSA 10 for $633 right there. You can see right here now that's the average right now. So $633 for that Ceruledge. This card has also been going up. In February, it was selling for about $176. And now it's selling for $240, $235. So from $175 to $235, that's about a $60 gain in the past month. And then the volume is pretty good as well at 1 to 5 copies being sold every few days. It's getting a little popular, it looks like. Next, we have the Eevee EX card. Only one PSA 10 for $210. That was on January 29th, so that was a while ago. Let's see the gem rate, 31.7. So also one of the lowest gem rates as well. That's crazy because the artwork looks pretty simple, but something about it, maybe it could be the graders as well, but 49 PSA 10s, the gem rate on this Eevee, 31.7%. So it's difficult to grade. So far, we're probably going to get more right. Let's see the single. So PSA 10 was 210, but that was a while ago on the 29th of January. Wow, so the raw card is even more expensive than that first PSA 10 that sold, and only one documented, at least through eBay right now, and documented on Pokedata. So in January, let's just do February, $229, managed to get up to $244. But since February 9th has been kind of crashing, and it's gone down to $219. So it's crashed a little bit from $244 to $219. So that's about what, a $25, $26 drop, something like that. Let's see the next card, the Roaring Moon EX card, 41.8% gem rate. So in the PSA 10. So out of all the grades, 41.8% got a 10. 24 10s, and there's 29 9s. Look at the 10 price. That is insane, you guys. That is insane. Right now, we have sales from February 13th was the first documented sale. 837. Managed to get a sale at 1,050 and now back to 876. That was on February 22nd. Let's see if we can find it right here. Yeah, 876 in an auction. So auctions tend to, for the most part, you can get a good deal on an auction. Yeah, so $876. You know, there's not too many sales. One, because these cards are really expensive, and it's a little risky too, because we will get more product probably for the next 2 years. Kind of like Pokemon 151, but Crown Zenith got printed a lot. Pokemon 151 has gone printed a lot, and now it's kind of like dying down in terms of like new products coming out with packs. And then Paldea and Fates, we have not gone to reprint, so that'll be interesting if we do. All right, so this card's actually trending in the upward direction for the raw card. We have a sale right here, $176 on January 31st. And now it's been trending in the upward direction, as you can see, all the way to $213. So from $173 to $213, that's about a $40 gain. And the volume, about 2 to 7 copies being sold every few days. So it's pretty popular, probably because it's less expensive too. All right, and then for the Dragapult, I don't have the gem rate. There's 20 PSA 10s, and there's 4 PSA 9s, so the gem rate's really high probably for this card. PSA 10s have been selling in February for about, we had a sale for 500, and then about 350 has been the average, and then now $423. Let's look at the Raging Bolt right here, because let's see what the PSA 10s have been selling right here. Raging Bolt, it looks like there's no history for the PSA 10, guys. But near mint copies on TCG Player, trending in the upward direction, $130, $118 on eBay. So eBay prices are a little bit different. Here's the Godangle as well. 0 PSA 10s, but there are 15 PSA 9s for $66. So if you want to get a PSA 9, you can get them, but you can't get a 10 right now. And so this card's been trending in the upward direction. TCG Player data shows that it's gone up from $75 to $97. Blood Moon Ursaluna right here. The gem rate is pretty low for this card, 22%. There's only 5 PSA 10s. So the average for the PSA 10 price is $500. And we could see the last sale. Where is it for the PSA 10? It's got to have some data points. It's probably on the second page. Interesting. We only have one sale, so it's on February 15th. So looks like that was the second page. But yeah, so the gem rates for this set is pretty low, you guys. Pretty low. Here's the 10. Nope, that's at auction. Right here, $500. No auction, February 15th. So that's why that one is $500, because that's where it's sold for. We have the Palafin gem rate, 46.6%. PSA 10s are selling for, let's see right here. Oh, looks like there's no PSA 10 data because there's no PSA 10s. There's only 11 PSA 9s. So no PSA 10 data. So when I took that data, it must have been just for the PSA 9 versus the other grades, because we do not have any PSA 10s, you guys. That is crazy. That is crazy. If we want to look at some updated prices, we have the Iron Hand, $74. The Pecharunt, $73. Terrapago, $72. The Master Ball, $70. Iron Valiant, $68. The Master Ball Umbreon right here, $288. Honestly, Master Balls are cool. Here's the Vaporeon, $65. But I just wouldn't pay such an expensive price for a half art card. That's just me. That is just me. There's Iron Crown, $59. So this set has so much potential. I mean, it's obvious you're getting hundreds of dollars in chase cards. Pull rates are really difficult for this set. But then you have so many Master Balls in this set. Like if you want to get maybe the Houndoom, even though I was talking trash on the half arts, even the Roaring Moon, like it just brings another uniqueness to the set. There's even reverse hollow foils for every card, I think. And you have Master Balls for pretty much every card in this set. So it's really kind of wild how incredible this set is. Who knows if we'll get more Master Balls in the future. And so, yeah, guys, that's the PSA 10 data. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.